All right, so I'm getting ready to watch episode 21 of season 4, the final season of Attack on Titan. That's episode 80 overall, and man, we've come so far. The memories of the future, the big revelations in the last episode that Eren had been controlling so much of the action of the past 4 seasons of this show was mind blowing. So I wonder, how do they follow that? Like, how do you follow up an episode like the last episode? How can you possibly build on that? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's to go ahead and watch this next episode. So let's do it. Oh, so we're back in the Crystal Cavern with Frida and Grisha, or Grisha's Titan form there. Yeah, we're seeing the battle. I don't think we really ever got to see this much of the battle before. I mean, we know the outcome, but wow. Getting a whole different perspective on it here. Whoa, who's that flopped over? Oh, man. He brutalized her pretty good. The Attack Titan. So how is it that the Founding Titan couldn't just control Grisha in that moment? Does it have to do with the vow renouncing violence, that she couldn't use the Founding Titan power in that capacity? And just basically, he was able to defeat her, kill her. The sad part's crushing the rest of the family. Like how merciless all this looks. And we know Grisha didn't want to do that. He was pressured by his own son to killing those children. I still can't wrap my head around that. And now we're understanding that Grisha can only see what Eren wants him to see. He only has the memories Eren chose to let him have. You feel the manipulation going on here. And you just see Eren as such a cold individual now, even more so than maybe we were already prone to in this final season. Oh man, recap of him saying only Eren will get what he wants from here on out. Just telling Zeke straight up, you've lost this game. Oh man. Just the vague threats of how terrible Eren's memories are of what's yet to come, but we don't know what that is. They're not letting it out of the bag yet. Just letting our own imaginations grind and ruminate on just how bad it could be. So they've got to deliver. When you get our expectations for horrific and terrible things up that high, you got to pay it off. But yeah, that nice moment where Grisha hugs Zeke. One of the more moving moments of the whole final season, in my opinion. And when Zeke finally has that tear and that closure, and then Eren just rips him away from there back into the paths. Like cruel in every way, it seems like Eren is. This is when he asks him to stop Eren. There's that teardrop that was so many years in the making. Of course, Eren's fully aware of this whole conversation, yanking him back in the paths, and this is kind of where we left off at the end of the last episode. Oh, he spared him seeing when Eren had to eat Grisha. Oh wow, now Eren is chained up. What's this going on here? Did Eren put those chains on himself? I don't even get the idea of these chains on Eren's wrists. Yeah, Zeke's kind of having some of the questions I think other people are having, which is, why are you showing him more memories than he needs to see, basically? Why couldn't you find another way to do it, a less painful way to do it? So I'm eager to hear Eren's answer to Zeke's question here. Still kind of surprised by Eren being chained up here in the voids, in the paths. Oh, wow. So what we saw was happening in real time. He could only do all this because Zeke took him there to try to teach him a lesson, and he twisted it around on Zeke. Oh my goodness. He saw his own future through his dad's memories. That's that whole causal loop I talked about in the last review. This is awesome. This is some awesome, like, philosophically metaphysical mind-bending stuff. But now that Eren's chained down, it's like she's not listening to Zeke anymore. What did Eren manage to do? But Father also said only Eren will get his way from here on out. So I think you were just manipulated into doing something that you're supposed to do again, Zeke. So there is this question of just how much predestination is Eren aware of and how much is still able to be changed. But wow, Zeke's kind of twisting the knife there, calling him powerless. I don't know if that's smart. He's not the kind of bear you want to poke with a stick, Eren Yeager there. Oh, painful! He just ripped his flesh right out of those bonds. Oh, he's got like a thumb or something dangling there. What's he going to do? Is he going to tackle Ymir? Going to prevent the euthanization? Zeke says there's no point, but something tells me Zeke doesn't know everything in this situation. Oh, man, he was reaching out for him. We go into the OP. Whew, that was a tense, cold opening there. But during the OP, I always like to remind people that I do have a Patreon. I know a lot of you are already members of the Patreon, but if you're not and you just want to check it out, see what the perks are like and that sort of thing, well, there is a link in the video description. From you 2,000 years ago. Now, I already knew the title of this episode was going to be this. And it's interesting, of course, the obvious symmetry with the first episode to you in 2,000 years. But it's weird to have the symmetry here because this isn't the final episode. We've still got several episodes left, so I'm curious why the symmetry is being played here. But we are seeing Frida alongside Historia here, so we're seeing more exposition about the past here. I want to see if anything changes or if we learn something new here. Other than Frida teaching Historia how to blow her nose from hay fever. I mean, I got allergies too, I understand. Yeah, explaining to Historia what ladylike means, because I guess she's grown up in this vacuum. Oh, so she's showing her the girl in the book who she sort of fancies herself after. Yeah, I guess that's the old Ymir. The original Ymir Fritz. Way back in this much more primitive time, so we're going to see the origin? Are we going to see the origin of the Titan power? That'd be a beautiful symmetry for the title of this episode. Getting water from a well. Here comes some people with giant pole arms, like lances. Looks like they're being intimidated by some marauders or something here. Like they're just in this village trying to mind their own business, and here comes some, I don't know, like Huns or something. Oh, wow, they got burned out, taking slaves. I mean, they're giving us a real good perspective for why Ymir would have made the deal she made to get the Titan power for the Eldians. And stories always have some beginning like this, right? There's always some kind of cruelty that's the seed of new cruelty. That's this whole cycle that we've been seeing play out. It's 2,000 years worth of this cycle of hate and violence. And she just wanted to help everybody and loved by everybody. So I want to see her meet whoever the source of this power is, or whatever the source is. Oh wow, collective punishment, one of the worst things that have ever happened in the darker days of humanity. I wonder if these are sort of like modeled after Mongols here, like the Mongol hordes that dominated Central Asia, the Near East, Eastern Europe, and the Far East too. So Historia's taken the blame, but not Historia. Ymir is taking the blame, but I don't think she's necessarily guilty. I think she's just trying to save the village the pain of losing an eye. And it's strange, she's drawn as if she has no eyes. Of course they all are. Maybe that's because they're historical figures. You know, the way legends sort of get warped with time. It may not... Oh, wow, she got shot with an arrow? She get an eye gouged out? Looks like she was, what, hunted? They set her loose to hunt her down? Oh my goodness, this is sadistic. No wonder she made a potential deal with the devil here. I mean, this is... I'm sure it's supposed to make me very much Team Fritz here, but it's succeeding. I mean, there's the blood coming out of the eye socket. They had to put one of her eyes out, right? They've shot her with a couple of arrows, and there's this big tree here. I wonder if that's supposed to be kind of like Yggdrasil. Am I pronouncing that right? Like from Norse mythology, because Ymir is a name that shows up in Norse mythology, I believe. And then for lack of a better word, the barbarians with the spears have chased her into this tree. So maybe they're getting their just desserts. Just unfortunately, all power corrupts, right? Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So her descendants probably go off the path until the old king in Paradis makes the pacifistic vow. But man, she just fell down into the sea. So is that where the source of this power is, deep in the sea? Because I remember those images from the closing. I think it was season 2 where you see like titans walking up out of the sea. So maybe she goes down here and that's where the deal is made and she gets the power and then we see him emerge from the sea. Whoa, what is this big jellyfish thing with all the tendrils on it? Now that's one, it looks just like a spinal cord. Like, is that just like Titan spinal fluid living freely under the water beneath this tree? And this is the first ever transformation of a Titan? Oh, and there's Ymir Fritz, the original Titan, the founding Titan. We're seeing it get founded here. Oh man, and that exposed ribcage. I love the way that creature that bonded with her looked. So it's just like some kind of parasite, right? Not necessarily supernatural here. Who called her a slave? Like she was supposed to do this? So they're talking about all the things that she's done with her Titan power, and that the Eldians are actually the barbarians that subjugated her village. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. So she was a kind of a slave of her own. So the Fritz, Ymir wasn't a Fritz originally. She got this power and was taken. The Eldians forced her into like this role of slavery and a forced breeding program to bear the future kings of the Eldians. Oh, they are horrific people that just abused this one poor girl. And then this whole thing built up. And then I don't know what they had against Marley, but yeah, it looks like a war of aggression against Marley. I thought the Marleyans were going to be the ones who came to the village, but it looks like the Eldians were the barbarians, the conquerors. So she did good things. She built roads. Basically, she built Rome in a day, so to speak, and then they turned her to warfare. Isn't that what always happens with civilization and society? Once you get some of those basic comforts addressed, then you start wanting to take other people's basic comforts. So I guess he's the original king. Ymir was never even the ruler. She was a slave. And then it was her child who became a ruler. Oh, those children. Those are the Fritz children. What you have, about 3 of them? Somebody tried to assassinate the king, and what is him? Oh! So when the king fell, did Ymir... Oh, Ymir took the spear to save that old conquering king who fathered her children on her. With what I'll assume is less than 100% excitement from her. Oh man, but she died to save the guy for some reason. Or maybe she just wanted to die. Or she's a Titan. Maybe she's not dead. Man, I think she's just tired of being a slave. Like, having that much power and still being a slave. Like, how did he keep her enslaved? I need to learn more about what did he do to keep her in bondage like that, because she could just crush him, right? I guess she's like, her slave mentality is why she's still a slave in the coordinate area, in the paths. Oh, wow. So he's having his children eat her spinal fluid, and this must be where, like, oh, the 3 daughters are Maria, Rose, and Cena. The walls are named after the daughters. Oh my goodness, this is some crazy stuff. I love lore, and a lore-heavy episode. I'm loving this. And then I guess this is how eventually we get to the 9 Titans, right? We went from 1 to 3 to 9, and then it must stop at some point. Yeah, it's all about eating the spines. So I wonder why it stopped at 9. I guess there was just 9 components to that original parasite that bonded with Ymir. But she's like so broken mentally to be a slave that even in eternity, as this all-powerful individual, she's still a slave in the coordinate area. And that person who made her a slave to begin with was never a Titan, so he's totally clueless as to, like, I think the full levels of what's going on here. But here she is just building more Titans. So I wonder if every time somebody gets transformed, she builds them in this space before they transform back in what we'll call the real world. Oh man, look at that one. maybe Eren will break her out of her slavery and like the scales will come off her eyes and she'll see the truth. But yeah, this founder of Eldio, I don't know if he's really the founder, but my goodness, he was an awful person. No wonder his descendants wanted to break out of his mentality. Oh, he's going to end it. Oh, so Eren is trying to like reach to, she's been so conditioned to be a slave. And he wants to set her free, but he also wants to set her free in a way that helps him. So, not entirely benevolent, but I think he's got a chance of succeeding here. And how's Zeke going to react to this? Oh, and that's why she follows the bloodline of the Fritz. It's not her bloodline. It's the bloodline of the person who fathered children on her and who enslaved her, and she's been conditioned. The psychologically warped eternal God here is crazy. Yeah, he needs to get her to reject the royal blood. That's the 2,000 years. Oh, what are you going to do, Eren? Are you going to get that power from Ymir in time to just snap your fingers and Zeke behaves differently? And there's the tear. Oh, look at this. There's that original jellyfish parasite. And it's going into Eren's head. Oh, it's back on the real world, climbing into his decapitated head while it's in Zeke's hand. And that is unlocking the power of the Founding Titan. Look at this. Oh, big transformation here in Shiganshina. Look at the power pouring down into that skull. Or that head. Oh, and it's rumbling. Okay, I'm seeing a wall break open. Now we're getting a rumbling. We're going to see the horror that is the unleashing of all these wall titans. What everybody feared, well, that day's here. And Eren did it. And I didn't know that this was his plan. I kind of wanted to think his plan was something other than this rumbling. I understand why Grisha was so frightened. But we're going to see the full horrificness of all these colossal titans just unleashed. Man, look at him. And there's Gabi watching. Like, what does she make of this? How is she processing all this? And Eren's just a skull and spinal cord or vertebrae, like a big centipede. And what's Reiner doing? Trying to protect Gabi, I guess? Oh, it even looks like the water was coming in. Like the whole island is being shaken from the walls breaking down and the colossal titans stepping out. They're just stomping the ground and the earth is shattering here. Like massive earthquakes. And look at what kind of creature is Eren becoming here? Just that gigantic bony millipede flying around out there. And he's growing and growing. Oh my gosh, Eren. This is even bigger than the Rod Rice Titan. Oh, she can't even hear Armin screaming in her ear because the rumbling's so strong. But Armin is just glad to know that his friend Eren survived despite this horrific genocide that he may be preparing to unleash. Oh, and that was Falco telling Gabi, Eren's our ally. Please trust me on this. And there's Yelena, who just wanted to see it. But I guess maybe she knows Zeke is gone, or does she think Zeke's who's doing the rumbling? She knew enough of Zeke's plan to know this isn't Zeke, right? Oh, man. But Eren's turning into Godzilla-level kaiju back there. With all these colossal titans. Ooh, Wall Maria's come down. All the walls are coming down. Oh, man. So now Armin's kind of puzzled about why giving up all the walls. Like, he's going to conquer the world. He's not stopping at Marley. Like, Armin's asking the good questions. Whoa, they got pulled into the coordinate paths for a moment. Eren's talking to him with the Founding Titan power. And he's talking to every single subject of Ymir. I like that he doesn't want to call them Eldians because they shouldn't think of themselves as being derived from that Eldian king, but rather from Ymir. I love the matrilineal way that he's approaching this. And I think his only way to protect him is to destroy the whole world. Oh my goodness. This is how the world ends for everybody but the subjects of Ymir. So he's out there to exterminate everyone who's not a subject of Ymir. Oh man, this is Lovecraftian level horror here. Eren has just become one of the old gods. So the island is all that's going to be left. Even the Eldians or the subjects of Ymir outside the island, they're done. He is going to extinguish life beyond the shores. Oh man, this was heavy. I love figuring out where that Titan power came from. And I love seeing actually what Ymir was and who Ymir was. And that she was an Eldian. She was a slave of the Eldians. And that explains the usage of the term subject of Ymir over calling them Eldians. And maybe why the Marleyans like the term Eldian. To kind of, it's easy to blame the evil conquering barbarian types instead of whatever Ymir's original people were called in that village. It also explains why the old king may have found it easy to give up the name Fritz and go with Rice, at some point. Because, well, matrilineal, they're not Fritz. That's all this guy that had the barbarians. Man, scary. I don't know. How do you stop Eren at this point? How do you keep the world from being wiped out? I mean, Armin and Mikasa are the only ones who can do that, right? They're the only people that might be able to get through to Eren at this point. I think Zeke's done for. I don't see him having any effectiveness here. I think it comes down to Mikasa and Armin, but especially Mikasa, just the way the dynamic's been set up over these past 4 seasons. And what a cliffhanger to leave us on. We still got a whole lot of episodes left, don't we? So with that, I'm just going to say, I'm proud of you for watching anime, and I'll talk to you again soon.
I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who supports the channel on Patreon. It really means a lot to me. If you might be interested in Patreon perks like early access to videos, uncut reaction videos, ad-free videos, and the opportunity to vote on which anime will be covered in the future, then click on the link in the video description. Thank you.